Hello, I'm Nate the Effin' Great, and what did I just watch? Welcome, guys. Happy Saturday. It is indeed a glorious Saturday here, and I'm actually broadcasting from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, getting ready for ACW Watercity WrestleCon tonight. It is happening. It is going to be awesome. It is going to be amazing. Let's just say it could indeed be phenomenal. Major pun intended. But before we get into talking a bit about that, it's time for everybody to listen to, of course, one of the most underrated as well as highly anticipated, again, of what did I just watch? 5 movies that I will be talking about from worst to best this upcoming week. And honestly, you guys, it's actually going to be a 2-parter review here because I didn't realize that. Well, I'll explain a little more as time goes on. So let's actually start off with the number 5 entrance, starting with Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Okay, so in all honesty, most of this movie was actually, well, I guess I shouldn't say most. Okay, there we go. Some parts of this movie were actually very good. I thought the visual effects were great. The character development was kind of lackluster. I guess I shouldn't even go into that a little bit. I'm trying to get all the positives out first. Johnny Depp did a pretty decent job as the Mad Hatter. Queen of Hearts was good. Was definitely very good. Very good. I think that the actress who played her did an amazing job. Let me see if I can pull her up quick. Let's see here. Here we go. Helen Bonham Carter, who, yeah, she did actually a really awesome job as, I guess it's actually the Red Queen. I'm sorry. Anne Hathaway, who was the White Queen, did also a tremendous job. Couldn't really think of any other. Well, it's very good, to say the least. Most of the characters were good. As far as, the rest of this movie goes, it just kind of felt lackluster. I'm not gonna lie. It just, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing, is that this movie, I guess, was supposed to accomplish the fact that there's supposed to be a lesson behind it. There's supposed to be some kind of good coming out of it. I don't know if it really accomplished that too much. I mean, I don't know. So let's start with some of the negatives from this movie. Throughout the movie, they talked about Alice, being there before, and that she was going to be the savior, and blah, blah, blah. And Alice has no recollection of it. Okay. And then they show like a little highlight clip of her as a young girl, traveling through the area, and them making a joke about, you used to call Underland Wonderland. Is that like a shot to be taken against the 1951 version, or just no reason, just one of those kind of ha-ha joke because it's in the title? Okay, so this feels a little bit more like a sequel. Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter character had a line of, "You can't please anybody." Well, no shit, Sherlock. Won't you just fancy that? And I guess that is exactly what was accomplished at the end of this movie, I suppose. The character development went by way too fast. I mean, here's the thing. They introduced all of the characters basically within the first 20 minutes, it feels like. They even had like this weird little story about Alice being, just this proper lady, but she's, of course, different. She doesn't want to, be like normal. She likes the abnormal, which is fine, to say the least. But the fact that she didn't really change that much at the end of the movie just made it seem like, what was the point of the journey then? Does it just, so she has more confidence. She has more of a chance to become what she already was, I guess. I don't know. Some of the things are, should we mention the fact that throughout the movie, the whole growing and shrinking deal just was an excuse, I guess, for them to say, hey, we get a partially naked Alice. Why? There just seemed like there was no point. I thought that they should have just kept it like the 1951 version where the attire, grew and shrunk with her, but I guess somehow they're making it seem like, that wouldn't be realistic. This movie's not about realistic stuff, okay? Johnny Depp's Mad Hatter was fine, to say the least. I don't know what the big deal was behind it. March Hare basically looked like he was a crack addict, who he was just like twinging, and he just had his eyes almost bulging out of his head. And it just was like, okay. Little Mouse from the Teapot, she apparently now has a sword, and she has a lot of self-confidence. Again, okay. The Red Queen and White Queen are apparently like sisters. Okay, that shows a little bit of an interesting story. But I think the thing that stands out the most is they really don't showcase Alice that much, really. And I think that, Aaron, game developer American McGee, who is best known for creating Alice and Alice Madness Returns, he said it best that he praised the visual effects, which I do as well, but criticized the lack of screen time Alice had compared to the other characters. And he also felt like Alice did not have any purpose. He didn't serve any purpose other than the fact that she was just this tool, which makes sense because it really didn't feel like anything there. It just went into a weird direction where this was supposed to be a movie, that was colorful, was bright. That's why I love the, 1951 version better, because it was that, and even the dark moments were just very brief. But Tim Burton, again, does an amazing job, and I even entitled one of the episodes on Change the F Up called Tim Burton is the Effing Man, because he does do a phenomenal job with a lot of these things. But then there's some movies where it's just like, I just don't understand the point of this. It just really did not make any sense, to say the least. So, all in all, final rating, star-wise, I give Alice in Wonderland 3 stars. Like I said, the visual, the audio was great. Some of the characters were funny and it was cool, but it just lacked the originality that had created Alice in Wonderland to be a cultural phenomenon back in the day. The fact is, it just doesn't work like that. I understand when they try to make remakes, they're trying to do something different. They're trying to create something new, something fresh, something that would, connect with the audience of nowadays. But you have to remember, you still have to have that originality that brought them to it. I mean, the remakes of The Jungle Book and Beauty and the Beast are two of the best examples of what a movie should be. And especially a remake now these days. And unfortunately, it's movies like this and like Cinderella, as well as I'm trying to think, there's Pete's Dragon. So many of these other remakes where they're trying to do like some different kind of deal with it, but it falls flat. It really does. It doesn't connect with most of the audience from nowadays, and it doesn't connect with the original Disney fans. So yeah, unfortunately, it just didn't really work too much. And the whole idea of, Alice being I'm trying to read the word, a colonialist, an entrepreneur, definitely was interesting, to say the least. but I guess it wasn't like horrible. It just was one of those things where it kind of made you scratch your head just a little bit, where it's like, huh, well, okay. Which also goes into, Alice Through the Looking Glass. And I am not going to watch that because I've heard nothing but horrible reviews about it. And unless it's on high demand for me to review it, I will not watch it. So, yeah. We're going to move on from that. So let's talk about something a little more positive, something better, to say the least. That being, I'm actually going to combine two of these. It's going to be Captain America the First Avenger as well as Captain America the Winter Soldier. Because both of them, in my opinion, definitely delivered. Oh my gosh, they delivered so well. They are definitely very, very high up on some of the best movies of all time. I thought that Captain America the First Avenger was a great way to start off the Captain America series, to say the least. They've already created 3 movies, like we mentioned before. The First Avenger was really good. It definitely introduced what, Steve Rogers was, who he would turn out to be, where Steve Rogers, played by Chris Evans, who does an amazing job. And they introduced Bucky, which was really cool. Even in the first Avenger of Captain America, they introduced Tommy Lee Jones to this, which I was not even expecting at all. I was like, whoa, they really did something interesting with this. What is interesting also is that, it starts off during the World War II deal, which, the man with the red skull kind of starts. He definitely was one of those guys who really started creating some kind of like this anti-Nazi deal. I'm trying to remember what was the name of the group. Just give me a quick minute and I'll figure it out. But yeah, this was just a really, really good movie where they created a super soldier with Steve Rogers. And they definitely done something more with his character where he just... Hydra, that's the anti-deal. And I want to actually talk about something in just a bit. But yeah, what's very interesting is that with this first movie, they definitely do a great job going from World War II and then ending it in the modern day deal because, I guess Steve Rogers was cryogenically frozen or something like that. And then we got introduced to, of course, Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, who does a tremendous job. I mean, by God, it's freaking Samuel L. Jackson, for God's sakes. This movie definitely provides a great starting point for Captain America. The only thing I didn't like about the whole Captain America deal was that, he still showed a bit of his socially awkwardness, especially when it comes to women, and it definitely still continues to show in the second movie, which I'll get into in just a minute. But all in all, this was a really good movie. I think that with everything that they've done with the start of Captain America, that's definitely the great, I guess, role model or template, there we go, to what a movie should be with, starting off. And I think that, when Spider-Man Homecoming comes out, it's going to be just as good. Final rating for this one, this is definitely a 4-star out of 5. So we'll move from that to The Winter Soldier, which, again, great movie, introducing, again, a great, bringing in the character of Black Widow, but also introducing Falcon was an awesome idea. I didn't realize that they were actually going to bring him into the fold until this movie, which is great. This is why I also loved watching these kind of movies where it's like, okay, I didn't know that this person was here, I didn't know this person was here. I didn't even notice that, Black Widow's first appearance was Iron Man 2. Anyway, but yeah, basically Captain America deals with a new Hydra agent, which turns out to be Bucky, the Winter Soldier, and Bucky doesn't have any knowledge of who he is, really. But this movie is definitely great. It definitely makes you drop your jaw, where it's just like, oh wow, this is just action-packed and great and phenomenal. They focus a little less on the CGI on the second movie than they did in the first movie, so that was actually pretty interesting. But I'm actually not going to complain about that because that's actually pretty good that they did do that. So, again, another great movie. I would definitely throw down